And we're live.
All right. Welcome, everybody. I hope you're excited to be with us. I'm excited to be with you. I know I'm not Seth Kniep. My name is Eric Abbey, and I will be leading and facilitating these weekly cadences on Saturdays for arbitrage. Just One Dime is focusing increasingly on arbitrage. I just think private label and arbitrage work really well together. And so that's part of the reason I'm excited about doing this with you guys, is to promote what we're doing is Just One Dime with arbitrage. And we're going to be speaking to arbitrage, taking your questions every single Saturday at noon Central Standard Time. So I'm seeing you guys comment. Alex B, I see you. Vats, Digital Music Box, I see you guys. 85J Merck, I'm glad that you guys are with us. I'm sure others are going to be joining us. Alan Urazar is with us. Alan, why don't you say hello?
Hey, everybody. How are you guys doing? I'm very happy to be here and ready to help our Just One Dime community. So let's do it, man.
Thanks, Alan. Alan is known around Just One Dime as the arbitrage ninja. He's got great ninja tricks. He's been doing arbitrage, selling on Amazon for a long time. He is an expert. He's been with Just One Dime for quite a while. He's a staff member with Just One Dime. I'm thrilled to have him today. Different Saturdays, we're going to have different people. We're going to have various coaches from our Amazon Arbitrage Mastery membership. They're going to join us to answer your questions. Alan is going to be a consistent participant with us. He's really good at answering your questions. Hello, Jay Burbs. Hello, Amro Labib. Vulcan. Hello. Thanks for joining us. We are excited to be talking about arbitrage. And so I want you to bring forward your questions and don't hesitate. I already see that there's some comments. You guys are talking to one another. Please bring us your questions. We're going to be focused on arbitrage, both retail and online arbitrage. We're not going to be discussing private label, though we think that arbitrage and private label can really work wonderfully together. So it's not that we don't care about private label or we're disinterested in it, but for this time, these moments on Saturdays at noon Central, we're going to be focusing on arbitrage. So bring me your arbitrage questions and we'll do the best we can to answer them. Let me take a minute to tell you a little about myself. Again, my name is Eric. I live in Vermont. I'm not too far from Canada. So it's nice here because we're in June, but there's a lot of cold months here. But we love Vermont. It's got the small town feel that we really enjoy. And probably about 5 years ago, I felt like I was in a pretty challenging situation. I had a good job that provided well for me. And so I was and have been thankful for that. But by conviction, my wife stays home with our 4 kids. We have an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 14-month-old. So we're busy, and my wife staying home with the kids is busy, and she homeschools the older 2, and she wants to be home. And so that's our conviction, that's our desire. And so with that one income, we had plenty to cover our bills and to cover our budget, but I didn't have margin, and we didn't own a home. And I thought, how am I going to save money in order to purchase a home? I could put away about $100 a month into savings. And I thought, man, I'm going to be so dead before I'm able to put a down payment on a house. It was just really frustrating for me. And I thought, there has got to be a way that I can make money and add margin to my budget so that I can save up for a house. Or my first goal is to get our family out of debt, because we had a loan on our minivan. My wife had some student loans, and we had to get out of debt before I thought we could really move forward. So to make a long story short, what I ended up doing is discovering Amazon FBA. I was playing around with things on eBay. I could buy an item cheap and sell it for more money, but I couldn't imagine how I could scale that. I could make 50 or 100 bucks a month packaging up my own items, creating my own listings through eBay. When I learned that through Amazon FBA, they will warehouse all your items. When you sell, they'll pick them off the shelf, pack them in a box, do the shipping, do the customer service, take care of returns. When they did all that, I suddenly realized I could scale this. And so now, instead of selling 10 or 20 items a month, I'm able to sell 1,000 or 1,500 items a month, and I've been able to really scale my business. And within the first year of doing this, which was 2015, I was able to eliminate all of our family's debt. And then my next goal became to buy a car for our family. And then the next year I was able to do that. And I'm pleased to say this past October, strictly because of my Amazon business, I was able to purchase a home here in Vermont. And I'm standing in it right now. My video room is in the basement of that home, and we love it. So that's kind of my personal story. I've been selling on Amazon for a little over 4.5 years. I think it's great. It has its challenges. It's not easy, but there's no business that I know of that's like selling on Amazon. And so that's the context in which I'm going to be talking about arbitrage, not just today, but in the Saturdays to come, all the weeks that are ahead of us throughout this year. I want to give Alan a chance to jump in. I'm going to scroll through the comments and take a look at some of these, and I want to see your questions. We're going to get to those in just a minute. But Alan, tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us a little bit about your story.
Sure, man. Well, I started selling on Amazon in 2016, about June 2016. Before that, I had my own business, but I was a truck driver. I was driving trucks for about 9 years. I had my own business, so at some points I had up to 3 trucks, and I was managing, a few drivers. But it is in trucking, it's a very good business. You make good money and everything. But my struggle was that I was always out of the house, sometimes 7 to 10 days at a time without, seeing my family, and I will miss a lot of different occasions, family occasions, and different things. So I was always trying to look for something where I could stay home and maybe have something that I could work from home and do, and still maybe do a little bit of money. But I found Amazon and I started doing arbitrage in June 2016. And within a few months, I noticed that the business model was great, over the road, yes, over the road. And I decided to sell my business. I figure if I can sell all my trucks and my equipment from August until the end of the year, I will have enough money to start investing. And I was surprised that within 3 weeks, I was able to sell all my equipment, all my trucks, and I got some money. And then I decided I'm going to start doing this 100%. So by the end of August 2016, I just decided to do 100% my business, and I started buying more inventory, turning more inventory, and that's how I started. I've been doing this business for a little bit. I'm gonna get to 3 years in a few months, but I've been fortunate enough to scale my business to the point where I can work 100% on my online business. I started working with Seth about 2.5 years ago, and we've been just helping the community and helping a lot of people kind of reach the same kind of goals, because we all want to. It's not that we don't want to work; we just want to have a better lifestyle, and I feel like Amazon provides that opportunity to work from home, even if you're starting small, be able to eventually do it 100% and have enough margin for your family. So that's my story, man, in a few minutes.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for sharing, Alan. I agree. I think one of the best things about selling on Amazon is the flexibility you have. I mean, I can think of very few businesses where you can manage your time to serve your family. I have friends that own businesses. I know people who speak about their business as though it's this monster that controls them. It kind of takes over their life. It says jump, and my friends have to jump. And what I like about Amazon, even though it demands hard work and it has presented me with massive obstacles that I've had to navigate and overcome, I've been able to really flex. And if I want to get up at 5 in the morning and work on the business, I'm free to do that. We'll talk maybe a little bit about online arbitrage. That's something you can do from the comfort of your own home. We call it arbitrage with no pants on. You can really flex your business and let it serve you. You can invest however much money you want. And that's one of the attractive things that I've found about arbitrage. Just by way of introduction, because I think we have some beginners here, arbitrage has been around really as long as people have been around. It's simply leveraging, it's an economic term whereby you leverage one market where you can buy something at a low cost and then turn around and sell it in a different market where that resource, that commodity, is worth more money. And you're just taking advantage of those two markets. So, I mean, they did it with crops. People have done it with silk and other tradable items. People do it with like money markets and annuities and that sort of thing. What we simply do is find products that you can market through Amazon and take advantage of one market where you can get it at a low price. For example, the clearance end cap at Lowe's, or the clearance page on Target.com. And then you turn around and take advantage of the Amazon marketplace, where somebody who lives just about anywhere in the world can purchase that product from you. I can find an item in a retail store in Vermont, and I can sell it to somebody who lives in Phoenix, Arizona in a matter of days. And I think that's wild. And so you're leveraging different markets. My goodness, it's completely legal, and it's really kind of fun. So that's really all that arbitrage is. And before I address a couple of the questions that I've seen, Alan, can you just speak about how you take that principle, that arbitrage economic principle, and how you find success applying it in your local community with retail stores?
Sure, man. And before I tell you that, my experience, I just want to tell you a little story, because I saw somebody asking, where's Seth? And Seth and our team here in Austin, Texas, we went to San Antonio on Thursday. We spent a couple of days over there just, building our team and getting to know each other. And yesterday, we were about to come back yesterday, Friday, around 3 o'clock. And then he stand up and he said, "Okay, guys, so I'll see you guys on Monday." And I'm like, "Are you coming back with us on the bus?" And he says, "No, I'm gonna stay here today, and guess where I'm going tomorrow?" And I was like, "Oh my God, you're going to do arbitrage?" Yes. So today he is doing arbitrage. He's going to garage sales in San Antonio, because he didn't want to lose the opportunity to be there and go and look for garage sales and look for arbitrage items. So basically, you can do it. Anybody can do it. People that have jobs and have different opportunities, they can take half a day, Saturday afternoon or Saturday morning, go out, look for items, and then sell them throughout the week. And that's basically what how everybody of every one of us started, and that's how you can start and then scale the business. So for me, in my experience, when I started doing arbitrage, I started doing retail. So I went to Walmart. That was kind of like the first stores that we started going to, and we just started scanning items. And the first advice that I got was, go to the clearance area in all the Walmart sections. If you go to electronics or if you go to the toys section, just look for all the clearance items that they have. And if you see something that regular price has been selling for $19.99 and now they're selling it for $7 or $5, that's an item that it might still be $19.99, the regular price, in other states or other cities, or even online, but you can get it for $3 or $5 or $7 right now. You can buy that and then resell it online. So we started doing that, and at the beginning, I won't lie to you, it's hard to not to scan items, but to really understand what are we looking for. So at the beginning, I scanned items for hours and I couldn't find anything, and I will get frustrated because I spent 3 hours at the store and I only found one item that I could make $2 profit. But as the more I started doing that with my wife, and we started kind of understanding what we're doing, it started to click on our brains. And once I saw everything clear, finding the items, and did that process of sending the items to the warehouse on Amazon and started selling, that's when I went, whoa, this is a great opportunity. I started understanding how a lot of people are doing it, and people are making hundreds of thousands of dollars. They are doing the same process, it's just on a higher scale. But that was for me, that was the wow moment where I thought, okay, this is the great opportunity. And I started going to other stores, not just Walmart, but I started going to Ross, Target, TJ Maxx, and that's what I've been doing for the last 3 years.
Awesome, Alan. Thanks for those details, applying the principle of arbitrage. By the way, I think Seth is kind of with us in spirit. I don't know if you realize it, Alan, but he's kind of looking over your shoulder. Yeah, that's right. You pointed right to him. He's in the background there, keeping his eye on you.
He's right there. He's watching us.
That's right. So he's got his eye on both of us. For anyone who just joined, I want to let you know my name's Eric Abbey. I'm thankful to Seth that I have the opportunity to do this call and calls in the future at 12 o'clock Central Standard Time every Saturday. We're going to be talking arbitrage, all things arbitrage, and how that can fit in with your private label efforts. And we're excited about this new membership that Just One Dime has, the Amazon Arbitrage Mastery membership. There's a link there that you can check out if you want to get more information about that. But Seth has become a good friend. I'm pleased to say that he and I have connected really well. Like most of you, I connected with him through YouTube and just felt like I trusted this guy. He was real. He cut to the quick and didn't play games, and I was attracted to that. And it was clear to me that he was successful. And so I joined Just One Dime. And what's been cool is I've gotten to know Seth, and I've gotten to know him far more than just as not an arbitrage coach, but an Amazon selling coach or an e-commerce coach. He's just a man that cares for his family and thinks about significant things. And I love connecting with him. And Alan's become a great friend. So part of what Just One Dime offers that I am really excited about is incredible community and incredible friendships, and I'm thankful for that. And that's what brings me here. So Seth is out making money, working the yard sales, hopefully enjoying a nice Texas day, and we're here talking arbitrage. And I want to get to your questions. I want to be able to talk some about your questions. So Alan, let me throw this at you. 85J Merck says here that you won't make much money in arbitrage unless you get completely ungated in everything. And there's no telling how long that will take, or if Amazon will even ungate you at all. And so I've encountered being gated in certain brands and categories, and honestly, I can relate to the possible frustration of that. It can be an impediment to moving your business forward. But as you hear that, do you agree with 85J Merck's statement? Would you nuance it? How would you respond to what he's saying there?
Well, I think what happens is that at the beginning, most sellers, when they start selling on Amazon, you see those big brands, Nike, Mattel, Nerves, all of these brands that are doing well. And if you go to you start understanding the rankings, you want to start getting items that are going to be, 1,000 rank or 10,000 rank. And, most of these brands are gated. And a lot of people, when they start looking at these brands and, they start finding out that a lot of these brands are gated. And, a lot of people get frustrated because that's where they think that the money is. But if you really think about it, I think Amazon carries over 280 million products on their catalog. And if you start understanding, the best-selling rank, the history of each product performance, and if you start understanding all of these points, you're going to start seeing that some of the brands that are not really popular are selling very good on Amazon. That's one of the advantages that Amazon has, that small brands can do very well, even though they're not very big like these big brands. So the main thing for me is understanding how Amazon works. If you understand how Amazon works, then you're gonna start focusing on these other items. We have members and we have testimony of people that are doing $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month, and they're not even ungated for many big brands like Nike, for example. So for me, the main thing is when you talk about this topic, if you're not ungated, you're not gonna make money. I think what you need to start understanding and realize is that you need to focus your attention into the big brands, which eventually are going to start opening for you as Amazon starts getting to know you, and you start getting more sales history and your account gets more seasoned and all that, you start getting open into a lot of these big brands. But in the meantime, the focus should be shift to finding items that you can sell, and there's a lot of them that you can sell without being ungated or having to go through that process. And then just focus on those kind of items, those categories, those brands, and then building from there so you can start getting ungating on the big ones.
Yeah, that's a great response, a great answer. I think getting ungated and finding approval to get ungated, which you certainly can do, is a big issue. And so I'm thankful for your response to that. I mean, my experience has been, after selling for 4.5 years, I consistently run into items where I'm restricted to sell for one reason or another. And so I don't imagine a time when I would ever become ungated in everything. I'm always going to be facing that. And in fact, there are brands or categories that I once was ungated in, and now I'm restricted in. And so there's ebb and flow. Amazon's sometimes changing things. I don't always understand the reasons why I do get approval in one area or another. But what we definitely have found to be true is that you can make money immediately by selling on Amazon, and there is opportunity as you build your business, because that's what we want you to do, by the way, is build a business. We're not encouraging people to just dive in, try to make a quick buck with some flips, and then get out and move on to the next kind of sparkly thing. We would encourage you to build a business. And as you're doing that, you're getting experience selling on Amazon, you're requesting approval to get ungated, and you're going to find inevitably, as you sell more and build your business more, you're going to get ungated, and those opportunities are going to unfold for you. Just yesterday, I encountered a restriction where I was able to apply and get approval and then purchase and hopefully sell the product. And so I think just viewing it that way and not having kind of a flat-handed approach that you just can't do it is really helpful. Alan, I got another question for you here. J1Tube says, what tools are essential in arbitrage? Now, Alan's the arbitrage ninja, so he's got like 500 tools at his disposal. Let me tell you, his toolbox for arbitrage runs deep and has a lot of drawers in it. But Alan, what would you say are the few tools, maybe even a couple tools, that you would say are essential?
Well, for me, essential tools are going to be the Amazon Seller app, which it's free if you open an Amazon Seller account. And so you can open the Seller account, download that app on your phone. That's going to be the first app that you want to start understanding and start learning about. You want to start scanning items, start looking at how much Amazon is selling, how much profit you get after all the fees. And we always recommend to do FBA for most of your items, because that's how you can scale the business. If you're going to be selling, let's say, a couple hundred items, and instead of doing the manual shipping and handling and everything like eBay, if you send everything to FBA, Amazon takes care of that part of the business, and you only focus on getting new items into your inventory. So the Amazon Seller app is going to be one of the first apps that I'm going to be that I want to learn and understand and know how to use. The other app, it used to be a free app. Now it's a paid app, but I think with this app is how you're going to be able to understand the performance of each item online, or especially on Amazon, to know, okay, is this an item that right now is selling for $29.99, but in the last 6 months it's only been selling for $15.99, and I just got this price because it's being a spike on the price, or this item has been selling for the last 3 months for $39.99, and I can get it for $7 right now. It's a great opportunity. And that app is called Keepa. It's KEEPA.com. And again, it used to be a free app. Now it's I think it's $16 or $17 a month. But if you have that app on your phone, on your browser, once you find an item that has profit, you can go real quick to Keepa, check the history, and if the history looks good, then that goes into my shopping cart, and I'm willing to do to study it more and see if it's a really good opportunity.
Yeah, those are definitely essential tools. The one that I might add, Alan, would be RevSeller. I hesitate to say it's essential, partly because I did arbitrage for at least 2 years without using it. So I guess that proves that it's not essential. And I was doing successful arbitrage, but it feels like one of the tools that I would suggest is indispensable because it's so helpful. So again, this is a tool that you have to pay for, RevSeller, RevSeller, but it's $99 a year. And you know, that one-time fee is kind of steep to drop $100, but it takes all the information that you need to see when you're doing online arbitrage and puts it in one box, embedded through a Chrome extension right in your Amazon listing. And it saves me time. I can type in the purchase price that I think I can buy the item for, and it shows me the ROI, shows me how much money I'll make. It just is super helpful, and it's right there all the while I'm doing online arbitrage. So you could debate whether that one's essential, but I think if you're starting to want to consider a tool that you would need to pay for, RevSeller would be a great one. Jay Burb says, I'm starting with book selling, just got a free truck bed full of library books. That's fantastic. I mean, I know books were big when Amazon started, but you can still find success selling books. I sell books. I've never gotten a truck bed full of them. That'll be a lot of work, but man, you can put in a good effort and make some good money on that. So go for it. Kurt Fretz, hello. He's a member of our community. Chris Gadas says, will this be helpful for people based in the UK? Absolutely. We have members who are doing retail arbitrage in the UK. So they are set up as Amazon sellers in the UK. They're going to retail stores in the UK. Amazon has fulfillment centers where you can do FBA over there, and they're making good money. In addition, we have a host of international sellers, not just from the UK, that do online arbitrage in the United States. And so they open up an account in the US. They go online and they purchase items from .com websites, and they send them to prep centers where they do all the preparatory work of taking off clearance labels, putting items in a poly bag or bubble wrap if that's necessary, labeling them with your FN SKU, and then sending them off to fulfillment centers. They do all that on your behalf. And so we have international sellers from multiple countries, tons of countries that are taking advantage of that and really making it work. So you certainly can do it in the UK, and you can, when it comes to the UK, there's multiple ways that you can do it because you have the fulfillment centers available. You can do retail arbitrage. We know of multiple members that are very successful at that. And I think on our Saturdays, as we're doing this cadence each weekend, we can talk more and more about opportunities that you could have in the UK. And from a multitude of international locations. Let's see what else we got here for questions. Vats says, from where do you get brand authorization letters when you do retail arbitrage? I'll try to answer that. I think by that you mean, like, where do you get the authority to be able to sell a particular brand? Well, one, you're guarded by the law to sell an authentically branded product, even though it's somebody else's brand. So that happens all the time. So I can take a pair of Nike shoes and sell them on a listing and advertise that they're Nike shoes, and I'm not violating anything. I don't necessarily need the brand's authorization to do that. Now, when it comes to selling on Amazon, there are particular brands and particular brand sellers that have the transparency program in place, and that means that when we were talking about getting ungated earlier, talking about restrictions, that's where that comes into play. Particular brands may have their listings restricted, and the only way that you could sell is if you have authorization from that brand. But I've found that, one, Amazon will often allow you the ability to get unrestricted when you apply for it, and it's based on your seller performance. So whether brands put in allowances for that, or those brands, don't have all the transparency pieces in place in order to completely restrict the listing, I don't know. But if Amazon grants me permission to sell that brand, then I don't need an official brand authorization letter from them. It's completely legitimate for me to sell that branded item through the listing. Now, it needs to be authentic, so I can't be selling some other item under that brand. But if it's an authentic item, I can go ahead and sell it. Alan, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, usually when we're doing arbitrage, the way, because of the business model that we use, where I buy maybe this item and I only buy 2, 3, 5 units of this item, and I might not sell this item in the next 3 or 6, even a year, before I find it again on clearance, and you try to get approval to sell that brand, and they ask you for letters of authorization, or a letter from an authorized distributor. I usually skip those items, and I try to find items that, one, I can sell, or two, if I request approval, I get an automatic approval based on my seller's performance. Because the way I think about this is, if I'm gonna spend 3 days, or I don't know how long, to be able to contact an authorized distributor, get an account with them, which they might or might not approve, and then once I get approved, start getting orders from them, and maybe the minimum order is $100 or $1,000 in order to sell my 5 units. That's going to be a lot of work for me, for something that I'm not really going to be going into like a wholesale deal, or a very I'm going to be selling a lot of units. So I rather skip those items most of the time, and then just focus on the ones that I can sell, or I can get a instant approval. Otherwise, what you need to do is you'll need to find an authorized supplier or an authorized distributor for that product, get an account with them, get approval to sell, to order from them and buy wholesale items, and then make big orders from them in order to sell and get those letters of authorization. So it's kind of like, for arbitrage, it's a process that doesn't make sense unless you're going to be doing a lot of wholesale. And that's the way I usually think about it. I just keep those items.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad you added that. Man, we got tons of questions. I love seeing the activity. Thanks, guys, for commenting, for asking questions. We'll try to move quickly through as many of these as we can. We'll probably be on for another 15 to 30 minutes. So keep the questions coming. Here's one for you, Alan. Stuart says, you're saying arbitrage and PL, private label, can work well together. And he says that's what he's doing. But then he asks this question: isn't there an increased risk of suspension by doing arbitrage and possibly losing out on both PL and arbitrage? What do you think about that? Is there an increased risk of suspension because you're doing arbitrage?
Well, for me, the only way I'm going to get suspended is if Amazon, if somebody makes a claim, inauthentic claim, or bad item, or you really are selling something that it's not described on the listing, and you get somebody complaining about that, and Amazon needs to verify that information. The only way that I'm afraid that I'm gonna be suspended and not getting my account back is if I cannot prove that my products are authentic. So, for example, in my store, I had my store suspended 3 times so far, and I always tell members of the community, if you haven't had your account suspended, you either are in 2 groups: the group that already had their account suspended, and the other group is people that haven't had their account suspended yet. Because if you're selling a lot of items, you're gonna get some people complaining. I just got a complaint where somebody say that the product I sell them was inauthentic. I had to send my invoices to Amazon, and they verified that I'm buying from a retail store and I'm not really selling fake products. And then usually I get my account back. That risk is going to be whether you're doing wholesale, whether you're doing private label, or you're doing arbitrage, or any kind of business model. The main thing is that you want to make sure that the products that you're buying are from retail stores. So just to give an example, I don't buy from eBay anymore. And the main reason is because Amazon does not consider eBay to be a retail store. They consider eBay to be another marketplace. So they won't take eBay invoices if for you to prove that you're buying your products from a retail store. So a lot of people sell from eBay to Amazon, and they don't get in trouble. I rather not do it, because I already had experience where I tried to send eBay receipts, and Amazon said, no, we want the receipts or the invoices from a retail store, not from another marketplace. So, you just want to make sure that even though you're doing, and we have a lot of people doing both arbitrage and private label. I have a private label product that I still, trying to build on my account, and I don't have any issues as long as I can prove to Amazon that all my product is legitimate.
Yeah, that's good. I wish I would have heard your statement before my account got suspended, because I kind of freaked out a little bit when that happened to me, and I hadn't had my expectations managed very well. If I'd have known from you or anybody else that I should kind of expect that that's a possibility, I would have probably slept a lot better when that happened. So I've had my account suspended, and I was able to prove that I was selling authentic items, and it was reinstated. And in fact, it eased my mind a lot when I found out it was a more regular experience. Amazon, has had a ton of trouble with hijackers and folks who are selling inauthentic products, just kind of tearing up a listing. And so I don't blame them for wanting to crack down on that. But what you and I are doing is legitimate, and we can prove that it's legitimate. And that, I think, arrests any fears that you should have or anxiety over the possibility of a suspension. Continue to look through the questions. Let's see. Jburb says, what label maker do you recommend starting FBA with? I have a Brother printer, kind of the standard toner printer. I use that so that, ink, if it gets wet, can get messed up. So I use a toner printer, but just a straightforward one. It works for all the labeling of my products, and it works for my shipping labels as well. I find it to be pretty faithful, and I passed one on to my dad, and he likes it. So we both use those. Kurt Fretz says, I received my first 1-star review. What would I need to do to have that removed? My assumption, Kurt, is that you're not talking about a 1-star review, but you're talking about a 1-star seller feedback. So if that's the case, I'm going to answer that question. And it's good to know that every time you get negative seller feedback, whether it's 1 or 2 or 3 stars, you can go in and request that be removed. So depending on what the feedback is in regard to, Amazon may automatically remove it. So my first question to you would be, have you tried to do that? Go into your Amazon Seller Central account, click on your feedback, and right where the feedback is listed negatively, there'll be an option to request removal of that feedback. And if it pertains to Amazon's fulfillment of the order, another good reason to use FBA, by the way, Amazon will strike it through and they'll remove it. And if they light you up with profane language, or if they say something inappropriate, or if it's marked as a product review rather than legitimate seller feedback, oftentimes they'll remove that. So the first thing is to go and try to have that removed. Secondly, don't hesitate to seek to interact with the customer and maybe be able to talk to the customer about possibly removing the seller feedback. They're able to do that within a few days, and sometimes it just turns out to be great customer service, that you can communicate with the customer, assure them that everything's going to be made right. If you're doing FBA and it's fulfilled by Amazon, then they're probably getting that return anyways. I want to keep moving through these pretty quick here. Alex says this, Alan. Let's see if you can do this. Alex says, give us a proposal for a blueprint to scale arbitrage in 2019 with a healthy budget. So what would your proposal be to try to scale your arbitrage this year? Any thoughts?
I could give you a blueprint, and for me, the more easy to understand everything, of course, it is not always that simple. But let's say that you want to let's say that you focus on finding items that have $10 in profit. It doesn't matter, your ROI or your net profit, as long as you can get $10 average per sale in profit. And if you're able to find a low enough BSR or bestseller rank that you can sell these items very fast within 30 to 60 days. The main thing for me will be building my inventory to the point where I can sell maybe 5 items a day. If I can sell 5 items a day every day for 30 days, and I know I'm making $10 in profit in average, I know I'm making $50 in profit, and if you multiply that, by 30, you have a couple $1,000 in profit, enough where you can decide, or you can focus. Okay, I'm gonna build this up higher. So my first goal when I first started, my first goal was, I want to make at least $3,000. That's what I need to pay all my bills. That's what I need to pay, to focus and building my business, and not have to worry about, looking for another job or something like that. So that was my first goal. I just, did the math. Want to make sure that I was getting at least, $10 profit. Of course, some items might give you $15. Some items might give you $7. So my minimum, I always recommend is $7 in profit. But my average, I want to make at least $10 in profit. And if you can work hard to the point where you're making 5 or 7 sales every day, that will be a good income for you. And I know it's very simple, but if you just forget about anything else and you focus on that and build your inventory, so it might take you 100 items on your inventory to be able to get that, or it might take you 300 items. That's how long it's going to take you to build and get to that point. But if you can just focus on, I need to get five sales every day, or an average of 5 sales every day with $10 profit, that could be a good blueprint, and then you can scale from there.
Good. That's a good answer. Thanks for that. You've got some trucker friends here, some former truckers on with us, Brandon. And then somebody who, it says untold true stories of a comedian trucker. Not sure what all that means, but we're glad that they're with us. We got a bit of a connection there with you. J1 Tube says, is it better to start with OA, then move to PB using the same account? When I saw PB, I thought peanut butter, and now I'm kind of getting hungry. So I think maybe that means private brand, or would be the same thing as PL, private label. So the question is it better to start with OA? I think it's hard to say what's better. I think a lot of that's up to your personal conviction and your personal preference.
I think you want to do both.
Yeah. At the end of the day, they really complement each other well. I think arbitrage can be a steady, lower risk kind of baseline income, and then your private label can piggyback off of that. And if you get the two working, I mean, you're diversifying your business portfolio, and you're doing it right within the Amazon marketplace. I do think arbitrage can be a fantastic stepping stone to private label. If you're a new seller, arbitrage is a great way to get familiar with selling on Amazon, to get familiar with Amazon Seller Central, to just get used to how to consider what BSR is, how the brands work in the Amazon marketplace, how to interface with Amazon Seller Central help and opening cases. I mean, there's just a ton of stuff that if you're jumping into private label without having ever sold on Amazon before, the learning curve is already really steep, and it's multiplied by the fact that you've never sold on Amazon. So I think arbitrage in general is a fantastic way to get started, get your business moving, maybe make some income that you can invest in your private brand, get familiar with Amazon. Now the learning curve when you shift to private label isn't going to be as steep. You're kind of complementing your portfolio. You're adding another layer to your portfolio. So that's how I would answer it. Whether it's OA or RA, I think both are significantly effective. So first I would start with retail and online arbitrage, kind of work those together. Then that's your arbitrage part of the portfolio, and then bring in private label, work that, keep working the arbitrage. And I think you can find that you'll be really successful as those work together. Alan, let me find a question for you here. Scrolling through these. Here's one. Birds Watchers. Thanks for sharing your experience, guys. You're welcome. We're excited to do this. It's really fun for us. Is it true that for making really good money, OA, online arbitrage, you need to have an LLC and a reseller certificate? So what would you say to that, Alan? Do people need to have an LLC?
Well, I just started the process of applying to get to put my reseller certificate on different stores like Walmart yesterday. So I've been selling for 3 years, and I haven't taken advantage of that part of the business, which you can do it, but you really don't have to do it unless you want to start, right from the beginning. So I've been selling for 3 years. Yesterday, I did my application for my where I put my resellers permit on Walmart and Home Depot, because I do sell a lot of items from there. And I know that if I have my account on my account, I have my resellers permit. I don't have to pay taxes. But my first 6 months in the business, I did everything under my own name as a sole proprietor. After that, then I opened my LLC. I change everything to a business. And so really, you don't have to do it at the beginning. We do recommend that you do start, if you're thinking about a business long term, you do want to kind of do all of those steps from the beginning. But you can start just with your name and your social security number, and then just change everything from there as you grow your business. I don't know what's been your experience, Eric.
Yeah, I had a similar story where I'm an LLC now. In fact, I'm incorporated, and I think I do better with my taxes as a result. But that all came a long way down the road for me. I sold on Amazon for a couple years before I even registered a business in the state of Vermont or did anything like that. So I think you want to think about it in due time, but it's not something that you have to do right away. Just saw a funny comment here from Vats. He says sometimes he wakes up at midnight and checks his Amazon seller app. Are you guilty of that, Alan?
Yeah, I actually want to check it right now.
Alan's making money as he speaks. Oh, there he goes. He's going to go check his app. He just ran away from the camera. It's funny. I do that too. It's actually a temptation that I fought against a little bit because I don't want to just be toting my cell phone around all the time. One funny thing that happens, if you're an Amazon seller at Christmas time, you start scanning your kids' Christmas presents and seeing what kind of profit you could make if you resold them. Maybe I'm the only one that's guilty of that, but I doubt it. What else do we got here? Alan Urzar, did you move to Austin? How do you want to speak to that?
I have sold 4 items today. That's not bad for a Saturday. Usually it's more, but today is only 4.
Hey, take it. Take what you can. You're not doing anything to sell those items. Are you coming to us from Austin, brother?
Yes, I'm here in Austin right now. I've been here for the past 6 months, and yeah, I'm loving it. I went to Ecom with Just One Dime, and I just went to San Antonio. So yeah, I'm here today, and I'm just loving the town.
Yeah, Alan's there in the main lounge of the Just One Dime offices. I had the privilege to fly down in April and visit and get to know the staff down there. And I'm telling you, Seth's putting together a fantastic team. There's a high quality people, fun people. The office looks great. Austin's a cool city. It was a really fun trip. I love Texas. So I'm a little jealous that you're down there now and getting to enjoy it. Let's see, what do we got here? Here's a question for you from Stuart again. Do you have any strategies or advice to prevent or preempt IP claims? So he's speaking about intellectual property claims. Do you have any? So maybe tell our viewers a little bit, give them a background as to what that is, and then what strategies or advice do you employ to prevent or preempt those?
Well, usually we'll get in. Am I muted? Yes. Okay, so usually what happens is that some of the brands will not like you to sell under their listings. So sometimes they will send you letters, and then if you don't, trying to get you off their listings, and if you don't do that, they will do a claim for IP infringement. And if Amazon gets that complaint, then they will contact you, and they will try. Sometimes they suspend your account until you get off of those listings and things like that. Usually, what I do is as soon as I get those emails, I know that I'm gonna be getting those emails if I continue selling. Sometimes I just send them a letter or an email, just asking them, if they can send me proof information that they're exclusive. They have exclusive rights to sell on Amazon, because if Amazon is letting me sell on those listings, that's because Amazon doesn't have any issues with me selling on those listings. But if they start doing claims, then I might have my account shut down for a few days until I figured all of that and I fix it. So lately, what I've been doing is, as soon as I get those letters, I just try to start, getting out of those listings, and I just sell my inventory. I don't buy any more inventory from those brands. For example, Converse, I'm not buying any more inventory from Converse because some of the items I started to get gated, and some of them I'm getting letters from them telling me that I'm not supposed to be selling on their listings. So instead of, so I don't have to go through that process of IP complaints and have to clear that out from my account. I just rather not sell anymore. And I just try to sell my items a lot faster. That way I don't get into issues with that. But that's the way I do it. And fortunately, I don't have any complaints, but I have had complaints before. All I have to do is send my invoices, letting Amazon know that I'm buying from a retail store, and usually they take those off. Unless I don't want to keep getting the same issue with the same brand, I'll just stay away from that brand. Otherwise, I'm gonna keep selling and then just keep getting those emails. And then if I get an IP complaint, I can deal with those showing my invoices. Do you do anything different, Alex? Eric?
Eric, no, I don't think so. I'm kind of embroiled in one battle right now, and I just chose to pick it, I guess, and go after it. I usually do what you do, and I try to keep my account in premium health, and then I want to move on from those claims. This one particular incident that I'm involved in now, I just, for whatever reason, decided to kind of double down and see if I could engage in the situation and continue to sell the product. Part of the reason is I bought more of the product than I might normally do. But I think the principle that comes out of this is you really want to be paying attention to your account health. And if you go on Amazon Seller Central, look in the left column, towards the bottom of the page, you'll see it as you begin to scroll. It says account health. And you want to be checking that probably on a daily basis, and you want to be watching your email. So you might feel like you get spammed a lot from Amazon, depending on what your settings are. You might get an email every time you sell a product or something, and maybe it would be good to adjust those so that you're only getting emails that are really important. But Amazon will send you an email when claims have been put against you. And sometimes they're just suspected infringement claims, and I've found that those are pretty easy to get rid of. Others are not suspected. They're more embedded, I guess, and Amazon will send you an email that you want to pay attention to, and you just want to respond to that right away. How you move forward in the future, whether you continue to try to sell that brand or not, is really up to you. But I think you just want to be on top of your account health. You want to be taking care of any negative feedback that you get. You want to be watching any of those claims that come against you and trying to sort through them. Keep your receipts. Have an organized way of making sure you can prove that you bought these from a legitimate retailer, that they're the real brand. Remember, they're trying to fight against hackers that are just coming along with bogus products and hijacking listings, and you're not doing that. So if you buy from a reputable supplier that's public and carries that brand, then you can show that you're that brand seller. We need to wind down. I'm going to try to get to a couple more questions, but we're not going to be able to do all of them, which is really cool to me. It means that there's activity on our channel. People are engaged. I think retail arbitrage and online arbitrage are exciting, and they just get your attention. And the fact that you could be making significant margin, I think if you just wanted to start making $500 a month and you thought that would be a real boon to your budget, arbitrage is a great way to go. I think that's a reasonable goal, and you could expect obtaining it, in less than a year, for sure. You could be making $1,000 or $2,000 a month and adding that to your margin. What could you do with that? I think it's exciting to think about. So it doesn't surprise me that there's a lot of activity here. Get to a couple more questions, and then we're going to have to sign off. Brandon says, is there a website that we can leverage to find local or within travel distance to find stores that have closeout deals? I'm not aware of one, Brandon, but I do think you want to be looking locally at just what's going on. And so newspapers are good for that, local websites in general that are going to advertise where there are massive discounts, certainly going out of business sales. I find a lot of it's word of mouth. I have some friends. I have a friend from my church who works in a retail store, and like she'll send me a text and say all our clearance items are 40% off this weekend, and she just lets me know because she knows what I do. There's just a lot of situations where I can find out what's going on locally. And when I think of locally, I think of where can I take a day trip. So there might be, you know, a city an hour from you, and you could take the van or the truck and drive to that city and do a circuit. And if you do that consistently, you're going to start to see a pattern to when stuff's available. So Alan, how would you comment on that?
Yeah, what I did at one point a long time ago, and we still use those emails, is I got a separate email account, just a Google account, and then I used that email to subscribe to all the websites, Walmart, Target, all these different websites. And so I don't get, you know, those emails on my personal email, but, you know, every time, you know, we want to go to the stores, we log into this email from Gmail, and we scan through all the emails that we have. You know, we get hundreds of emails every day, but they're just announcing the deals that they either have on their website or they have on the on our local stores. And so we just pick from the ones that we want to see there. And then if we find something that is good, we'll go to the store, and sometimes we print out the email and you know, sometimes our coupons and stuff like that. And you'll just go to the store and use that. So we do that every time we know what we're going to go out to the store, so we can see if we can have any discounts or coupons or any promotions that we don't know about.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really helpful too. And I do the same thing. And I feel like arbitrage is like a treasure hunt. You're just constantly looking for opportunities. You're looking here, you're looking there. I kind of weave it into my day. So anytime I'm running errands or perusing the internet, I just kind of you develop an arbitrage mindset, and you're looking for opportunities. And sometimes you kind of feel like you hit gold. You develop a particular relationship with somebody, or you find a replenishable product or two in a store that you can just continue to send in. You know, there's days when I work at arbitrage and I don't encounter hardly any opportunity. You know, I don't find anything at all, and those can be frustrating. But I think if you can zoom back a little bit, after you do it for a month or two, you begin to realize you're just working the territory. And some days you go to bed thinking, man, I just hit some of the best opportunities ever. And other times you kind of get frustrated. But it's like anything. It's going to have its challenges. It's going to have its ups and downs. And you want to stay encouraged. So a lot of what we talk about, maybe we can discuss this more next Saturday. I don't know how interesting it is to people, but a lot of it's a mindset. A lot of it's looking at your heart, thinking about how am I doing? Am I thinking the right way? Am I applying principles to make wise purchases? Am I managing my anxiety? When you encounter an obstacle, how are you handling it? I mean, what do you ever try to do in life that doesn't present you with challenges and obstacles? Especially when it comes to something that's significant and has meaning. And so, I mean, if you're wanting to provide for your family, if you're wanting to build margin, if you're wanting to build a legitimate business that's going to provide for you for years to come, man, you're going to encounter difficulties, and then how you navigate them says a lot about who you are, and it says a lot about what your goals are, and it says a lot about whether or not you're going to succeed in the long run. So, and that's part of what we want to be available for you as well. So Just One Dime, our Amazon Arbitrage Mastery membership, I think has a lot to offer. It has, for beginner sellers, it has a step-by-step process by which you can watch the videos and learn how to set up your seller account and get off and running. We teach the principles that you can purchase products well and be confident. It's got all that in place. Then it's got all kinds of ninja tricks that Alan has introduced. It's got bonus material. I think there's a ton of stuff for an advanced seller. I came in having sold for 2.5 years, and I couldn't believe what I learned, all the new things that I was being introduced to. Maybe the most important part of it for me has been the community and just being able to make friends and connect with other people that are doing exactly what I'm doing and are encountering the same kind of obstacles. So when my account got suspended, who did I turn to? I turned to my friends at Just One Dime. And Alan in particular was super helpful. And they weren't just helpful because they solved my problem, which they were very much a part of solving the problem I had, but they just came alongside me and gave me encouragement and helped me to persevere. And I just don't know what else what thing that's important in your life are you doing that you don't need that you're not encountering that. So I just think there's a lot of reasons to be excited about what is available through Just One Dime. I think arbitrage is really fun and exciting. I've said that a few times, but that's why we're doing what we're doing, and we're excited about these Saturdays. So we're going to have to sign off. Our hour is up. I'm really excited that you guys engaged. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for the dialogue. If we didn't get to your question, people can chat into the comments, or you can come back next Saturday, 12 o'clock Central Standard Time. We're going to be here again. Ask the same question. If you get, the closer you get signed on to noon, the quicker we'll probably see your question. But we're excited for you guys, and we're excited to see you again next Saturday. So I'm going to sign off here. Alan, I'll say goodbye, and I'll give Alan a second to do likewise, and hopefully we'll see you next Saturday. Go ahead, Alan.
All right, guys, thank you for being here. And again, just keep working on learning. And if you need help, let us know. We have the link down below so you can see all the details of our membership. But we hope to see you here next week. And you guys have a great weekend and a great week coming up. Take care.